Hey everybody, welcome to TMI Live with Moondog. That's me. And I just wanted to let you know that we have some special guests tonight. And before we get started though, let's, as you saw there on the screen, let's bring up our sponsor for today. As a longtime sponsor, it is Aura.com, which is an online cybersecurity company that I use to help protect me when I'm on the web. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that offer services like VPNs and credit monitoring and spam blockers. Well, this is one of the first companies to bundle all those services. Plus, they also offer data broker removal. So all that information, there's lots of information about us individually that are being bought and sold on the web, which includes not just our names, not just our email addresses, but this is how a lot of spam mail gets to you, is because your email address is being bought and sold by these data brokers to marketing companies. But there's other information that you probably don't want out there, like your physical address and your phone number. Well, you can formally ask these data brokers to remove your name from their lists. But it's an arduous process, it's a tedious process because there's hundreds of them out there. Well, if you sign up with Aura, they will formally request to have your data removed. I got myself removed from over 30 data brokers, so it's a great service. Try them out for free. Use my link there on the screen, or just go to aura.com/moondog, and you can try them out for free for 14 days. So it's totally worthwhile. And like I said, it's free for 14 days. So try them out, please, and let me know how it works for you. All right, so. For those of you who don't know, I usually give away a prize in my live streams. Well, today my guest is giving away a prize. I don't want to steal their thunder. It was going to be a little bit of a surprise, but they're going to be giving away an SD card to a winner today. And for the early bird clue, this is a brand, and I'm sorry for those who might be listening to this show as a podcast, or just while they're driving or whatever, just listening to the show, and aren't watching it. It's a visual clue, and the visual clue is this is one of the logos of this company, and by one of their logos, this company is a big multinational Japanese conglomerate, electronics and a bunch of other things that they do. And so this is one of their main logos that they use. And if you know which brand this is, what I want you to do is actually send me an email. Send it to contest@moondogindustries.com. And in that email, put in your mail to address, and in the body of it, and also in the subject line, put the hashtag and the name of this mystery brand in your subject line. The first 3 correct answers will win the prize. All right. So let's get into the new videos this week. I'll get through them pretty quickly because I want to get to our guests that'll be joining us, and it's going to be a pretty broad topic. Today's topic is going to be about dash cams, and so let's get over to that. I posted a video in my Moondog 2A channel. It's a video review of the Midas Flash, which is a RMR, a ruggedized miniaturized red dot that fits they're designed to fit on top of pistol slides. Well, if you have a modernized pistol slide with a cutout on the top to accept these RMRs or MRDs, miniaturized red dot. There's a couple of different acronyms that describe the same thing. They're basically very small reflex sights. Anyway, Athlon sent me their Midas Flash, which, to be fair, is an older model. I think they came out with it 4 years ago. So one of the comments I got from somebody who saw the video short that I posted of this, and the short, let me just, if you haven't seen it, and see if I can pull up this for you. So let me describe this. So I post up full video reviews as well as video shorts. And if you know your YouTube video shorts, like TikToks, they're just like, less than a minute, or less than 3 minute now videos. And so I posted a short from the longer form video that I have for the Athlon, this Athlon review video. But the comment I got back about the short version of it kind of threw me for a bit of a loop, because they were complaining that I was shilling for them, but I couldn't quite figure out where they were getting that, because it was literally just like 15 seconds of just footage. It was this to music, and it's not playing music right now because this is the original file, and when you upload it to YouTube Shorts or TikTok, you can add music. So that was it. That was literally it. And he was complaining that I was shilling for Athlon. I'm like, I didn't say a single thing. There was not even a single thing that was even mentioned in the video. So I wasn't even talking, and it doesn't say anything on screen other than the name of it. But he was accusing me of shilling for this company. I'm like, okay, sure, all right, whatever. But anyway, so they Athlon sent this to me actually last year, because I did this. You remember the Olympics from last year where they had that Turkish shooter in I believe it was the air gun competition, the air pistol competition, or the rimfire competition, where everybody was talking about how he had such a relaxed stance that everybody came up with all of their eye gear and accoutrements to shoot. And here's this guy who looks like just a regular dad walking up, sticks his hand in his pocket and starts shooting, and came in third place, I believe. And so everybody was interested in the kind of gun he was shooting, because it looked like a really unusual gun, at least for a lot of folks, because they don't often watch Olympic rapid fire pistol competitions. So they'd never seen a gun like that. These are special competition 22s, and they are crazy expensive pistols. So like $6,000 to and up for these rimfire Olympic pistols. Well, they have similar competitions here in the U.S. that are held over at Camp Perry, and there at Camp Perry they aren't restricted to 22s. They actually have the competition using 45s, and they've also allow. I also believe they use it. You could also shoot with a 9, but it's any military caliber, and the competitions are typically done one-handed. The traditional. And you put your other hand in your pocket just to balance yourself, and you're not supposed to interfere with your pistol with the other hand. So everybody puts their hand somewhere. So pocket is good as anywhere else. And one of the allowances in the NRA pistol competitions is you can use a red dot optic. In fact, pistol red dots started being used in these competitions. That's how they eventually evolved into the RMR on slides. So I thought to give you that a little bit of tidbit. But I reached out to Athlon last year after the Olympic competition, and I said, hey, nobody's been talking about putting one of your red dots on an Olympic competition pistol. I've got a friend, and the Olympic pistol that he particularly had was a Pardini, looked like a dovetail, or at least it was more like a Weaver, on the rail, or at least a cutout on the edge of his top of his slide. And so we were wondering, well, could you put one of a Picatinny compatible, or a Picatinny mount, a red dot on top of it? And Athlon was kind enough to send one of theirs that had that was advertised. The only one that they advertised that has a Picatinny base. It's actually an RMR base, but they include a Picatinny mount that you can remove it from it. But in this case, they sent one out to me, and that's what I did the review on. And then after I did that video on, can you put a modern red dot onto an Olympic pistol? I decided, okay, let's try this. Let me just do a review of this particular red dot. So that's long story short, that's what I reviewed this week, the Athlon Flash. And it's a little bit of an older design. The criticism that some people have had about this particular red dot is doesn't have a side tray, and it's a little bit tall. To be fair, yeah, I think the base is a little bit tall. On the plus side, it is narrower. Maybe that's the reason why at the time they didn't have room for all the electronics, so they had to make the housing a little bit higher to fit it, to make it thinner, so that it didn't peek out of the sides of the slides like a lot of older micro red dots did. I don't know, but anyway, that's what I posted up on the 2A channel. And on my Moondog Reviews channel, I posted a second video of sample from the review of the Vuroid S1 Dashcam, and we'll be talking with Vuroid in a bit. And the Dashcam is really good, and so probably one of the best footage, some of the best footage I've gotten from a Dashcam. And let me just show you a little bit of that right now. This is the S1 from Vuroid, a premium 4K front and 2K rear camera dashcam. Here we can see its performance at night. The smears you're seeing are in the glass of my windscreen because this is San Francisco and we're actually driving through a light fog, so there's moisture. At night is when dashcams really struggle to show any usable detail in the footage, especially with license plates. They're often too blurred out or blown out from the glare of your headlights reflecting on the license plates. But the S1 has special digital enhancements. Here I freeze framed and zoomed into the footage, and you can actually read characters on that license plate. So I don't know if you could see that, and we'll take I'll show you some slides a little bit later. More detail, but it's one of the first dash cams that I've ever used that can provide a pretty decent reading of license plates. And to be fair, it's not perfect. And one of the things that disappoints a lot of people about dash cams is their night performance. You can see cars, but they tend to be very blurry at night, and that's going to be the case because every digital camera struggles at night. And very few of them can even read any of the digits on a license plate just because the glare. I mean, most modern license plates have a 3M reflective coating on them, and that's by design so that they're more readable with our naked eye from a greater distance, and also to allow speed cameras to take photos. But the flip side is at night, because cameras have a far narrower bandwidth in terms of its ability to see both a large contrast in lighting conditions. The numbers, the detail gets blown out by the reflectivity of the license plates. And it's not perfect, but the Vuroid definitely is a lot better than most dash cams that I've tested out. And moving on to my final channel, Moondog Go. There I posted up a video. This weekend was the Airsoft Con and the Airsoft Convention over at EVIC. It's a big gathering that they throw at their LA Superstore. And earlier this summer, I got a chance to go there, and some of you may have watched my live from there, which was kind of not the perfect conditions because their public internet there wasn't that good. So I think a lot of folks who struggled through watching me experience fairly low video quality and sometimes some audio drop off. But anyway, I got a chance to walk everybody around the Superstore while I was there. But they've added to the Superstore a huge shooting gallery, and they've turned it into a modern shooting gallery experience using their own airsoft guns. And their airsoft guns have been modified with what they call tracer units, and they're mock suppressors that are made that thread onto the front of an airsoft gun, and inside is a little strobe unit that essentially the same kind of electronics that are inside of a camera flash. And what it does is that every time a BB goes through the barrel and gets shot out of the airsoft gun, it flashes inside of the can, essentially. And what it shoots is not just regular BBs, but you can buy glow-in-the-dark BBs. If you didn't know this, this is the thing. And because it flashes on the inside of that, when the BB shoots out, it looks like a tracer round. It looks pretty cool. So here, I'll show you what that looks like here. So there you go. See that? It looks like that. And what he's shooting is a wall that a projector is putting video graphics on.
3, 2, 1.
And there's me in the center in the red shirt. I came in second place in this group of 4. So what it is the shooting gallery wall has a bunch of little sensor discs. So when the discs get hit, it registers your hit. And there's a couple of different games you can play when you're there, and it's intended to be sort of an amusement experience. You rent, I think by a 10-minute period, and you can play as many games during that period as you want. You can select, I forget if it was like 3 or 4 different types of scenarios. So one of them is a pure speed run where you have a grid of 12. Was it 12? Oh, either 12 or 16 lighted discs, and then whoever can knock them all out, hit them and knock them out. The fastest gets the highest score, and it tells you the exact speed of completing the wall. And there's like a zombie scenario and a couple of other ones where they're projecting video game graphics, and you can hit the target to knock out the zombie. You have a couple of different options while you're there. Okay. So those are the videos I posted this week, and I'd like to ask for your help in coming up with an idea headline for next week's video. And this one, I'm going to be reviewing this is the Athlon Midas G2 binoculars, and this is their smallest. This is their folding binocular. And I don't know, do you have any thoughts? Because otherwise I'm just going to put up Athlon Midas G2, which is not terribly creative, but informative. If you guys have any thoughts, put them on the side. Now, these binoculars uses their UHD glass, which is their version of essentially ED glass, extra low dispersion. So reduces chromatic aberration, very good light transference, even though I believe it's a 25 millimeter tube objective on it. So it's a smaller, and it folds up to about 3 inches wide when it's fully folded. So it's pretty compact, and it's pretty well built. The chassis is almost entirely magnesium. The parts of the bridge cover are plastic, but otherwise it's magnesium. And the only thing I thought was missing from it was they could have put in a tripod socket, tripod adapter socket. Perhaps you'd think, maybe you could argue that they don't really need it because these things are super light. The thing weighs less than half a pound. So you don't necessarily need the support of a tripod when you're looking through it, because it weighs next to nothing. But putting it on a tripod does also make it steadier than your hand, so to speak. But I usually also, the pro tip, if you need to keep it steady, just rest the eye cup or rest the binoculars with your finger on your head, and that'll keep a much steadier view through the glass than anything. But anyway, if you have any thoughts as to a good headline, put it in the side chat. We'll move on, and hopefully we're going to get our guests should be joining us in about 5 minutes. So let's talk about the subject of dash cams. Oh, but before we do, I believe it was Jesse out there who's asking, what's the contest word? Okay, well, here's the clue for the contest. The contest word is this brand, and this brand is a Japanese multinational mass media conglomerate, and it's headquartered in Minato, Tokyo, in Japan. And back in the 1950s, their TR-63 transistor radio really cracked open the U.S. market for Japanese electronics. And in the 1980s, which most of us hopefully are old enough to remember, their Walkman really invented the whole portable music device category, which eventually became MP3 players and iPods, and eventually now our phones. But really, it was the Walkman that really sort of set up that trend or that whole category of nobody before then would think of bringing their tunes with them anywhere. So if you know who this brand is, what I want you to do is put in the name of the brand with a hashtag in an email, put that name as the subject line, and put your mailing address for your prize in the body of the email, and send it to me at contest@moondogindustries.com. So again, that is contest@moondogindustries.com, and I will even post it on the side chat here just for everybody. Contest@moondogindustries.com. Hopefully I didn't typo anything as I was typing there. So put that into an email and send it out. Send it out to me rather than putting it into the side chat this time. This way, even if you can't stay for the whole show, you can still participate. And also some other of the previous times, I wasn't able to get a hold of the person who actually won based off of the screenshot. So anyway, if you email me, this will guarantee that you'll get your prize. So win-win, right? Okay. So, and you know what? There's a new feature that I haven't always turned on, but I'm going to do that now. I'm going to turn on the little side screen so you can see everybody's comments on the side there. So, if you want to see your name on there, type in something on the side chat, and I'll give you again a topic. If you our guests have joined us. Okay, so they've joined a little bit early, which is great. But let's get through the introductions for them, and we'll have them join us. All right. So the topic today is going to be about dash cams, and for those of you who own them, this is going to be pretty obvious. But dash cams are cameras mounted onto your car dash, hence the name, or it's more often the case your windscreen, and it records the driver's view. Or the view of the rear of the car, or the interior of the cabin. And actually, dash cams are pretty modern, but you think of them as modern, at least our iteration of the way we use them now. But dash cams are their first dash cam video wasn't a video, it was a film. It was shot in 1903. And because back then people were in the first films, people wanted interesting content. So it wasn't long before somebody figured, hey, I'm going to mount the camera, handheld hand crank camera, onto my car, and we'll just show people what these cities look like. So here's one of the oldest dash cam videos ever, and it was actually somebody in a Model T probably filming his drive down Market Street in San Francisco, of all places, where I live. So I've often shown Market Street on my videos. Well, here I'm going to show a little bit of a snippet here of this video. So you can see back then there were as many horse-drawn carriages as there were cars, probably more. And people forget about this. One of the reasons why cars became so popular is because the streets were just filthy with horse poop, manure. So people actually liked cars because it got rid of all the shit on the street. Of course, now in San Francisco, it's human poop on the street, but whatever. Anyway, I won't steal too much thunder. If you want to see this video, Google Market Street dash cam, and you can watch videos from elsewhere in San Francisco's other cities. But yeah, the concept of dash cam really goes back as far as cameras themselves, and it's interesting. Now, one of the first experiences people had with dash cams and were seeing on them was this meteor that hit in Siberia, and this was back in like 2013.
The brightest light this morning, a meteorite explosion, and a prime viewing spot for many was behind the wheel.
Now, the interesting thing is there was tons of
The morning
footage
rush hour drive was
of
certainly a more enlightening ride, with
this
dashboard
meteor
cameras capturing the fireball's
in
course.
I think it's
This wasn't a
Chelyabinsk.
story that workmates wouldn't believe.
Now, one of the reasons why they had a ton of footage of that is because in Russia, just about everybody has a dash cam on their car. At least this is what I'm hearing, and perhaps our guests will be able to fill us in on this. But the reason why a lot of people have dash cams in the car is because there's a lot of fraud and there's a lot of corrupt cops, so they want to have evidence to exonerate them, so they don't get hassled by either their insurance or by the cops who are claiming that they're doing something wrong when they have proof of that. But apparently that's why a lot of people have dash cams in other countries, is for that. And thankfully, knock on wood, that we don't the crooked cops isn't the primary reason we get dash cams in the United States. But there are very many other reasons. Let me know in the side chat right now if you have a dash cam and why you did get a dash cam. But I want to bring onto stage right now our special guests, which are Jesse and James, but not this Jesse and James. But I just thought it was funny that our two guests were Jesse and James. Jesse's a manager over at Vuroid, which is the brand name of NC And, which is Korea's largest dash cam manufacturer. And also James, who is the team leader of the marketing department. So I'd like to introduce Jesse and James. Jesse and James, thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Of course. And could you give us a brief introduction of who you are and also of NC? Am I pronouncing the company name correctly?
Yeah, NCN is correct. Yeah.
Okay, NCN, which is interesting because I don't often see "and" as at the end of a series of letters. You got to explain that to me.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jessie Lee, and I'm from Vuroid, and I'm in charge of the product management in Vuroid, and it is a brand name of the NCN. And the NCN is the manufacturer of the Vuroid and has been developing the imaging technology for nearly 30 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's quite a long time. And we are most focused on like ISP or AHD, which is the main element for the imaging industry, like cameras. They all need how to transmit and how to process the image signal. So this kind of technology we started from, and we changed our product line to the dashcam. So NCN has a strong history as a top ODM player and once holding the number one market share with major partners in South Korea. And under the slogan, the where brilliance meets basics, Vuroid aims to deliver dashcam products that embody what dashcam should truly focus on, like reliability and essential performance. So we think the dashcam is more like a fire extinguisher, which is simple but indispensable. So we don't think that dashcam should be the flash product. So what matters is that it records without fail in any situation, and that the recorded footage clear captures what's needed. But however, in reality, like many consumers are drawn to product based merely on low prices or fancy features. So, but that a dashcam should be a product you can purchase once a trust completely, because you will never know when an accidents might happen. It could be tomorrow or even 3 to 4 years later when you have forgotten the dashcam is there at all. So Vuroid's
Oh, that's a good
philosophy
point.
is
Yeah.
Vuroid philosophy is to be a product you can always rely on these critical and unexpected moments.
Yeah. So what? So NC and so they started developing image processing for other companies, right?
Yeah, it is from the semiconductor that has possessed the ISP algorithm on that, and also we have the AHD signal transmitting technology by ourselves. So from that, we started learn about how to process image and how to process video in great quality, and also how to transmit the image to longer distance in the lower price.
Oh, here's already a specific question that a couple of questions that we got from our viewers here. Tim, and we'll get into this. Tim says liability is a good thing. I mean, reliability. Sorry. And Portia Piecer says, "Are you looking to partner with auto manufacturers to hard integrate your products into cars?" Which is actually a topic I wanted to ask. So I'm glad he asked this.
Yeah, definitely. In Korea, there's a lot of dash cam is installed in the car right now, and I think it's most of like 90% of the car on the road has installed the dash cam, and then
That's
because the
pretty
market
high.
is
That's pretty high
yeah
90% of Korean cars have dash cams. Wow.
yeah because we have the insurance policy that make a discount on the vehicle that has the dash cam on inside.
Ah.
Yeah,
Okay.
from that, as the market is saturated, it's kind of become the necessity. Then the OEM in the Korea has started to import the dash cam as their factory option. So
Mhm.
we think the dash cam will be one of the factory option in the future in the other countries than the East Asia, but it can be slower than here. So we're looking for the opportunity in aftermarket in Western country as well. But in terms of the OEM side, we also looking for the opportunity to work with.
Okay. Now, for the rest of my audience, OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer, and what that really means is that there are companies out there that will make products for sale to other companies, and those companies slap their name on it. Or in the case of like, and I'm not, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm the only two Korean car manufacturers that come to mind are Kia, which I drive, and Hyundai. But Hyundai actually owns Kia, so it really is just one one company now. But so what would happen is you'll see this with car stereo and entertainment systems. Yeah, Hyundai or Ford or GM or Mercedes, they won't make those radios, folks. Those radios are bought. They'll contract out with some other company to get the radios to put it into their cars, but they're not going to put. In most cases, they're not going to put Panasonic or LG or whatever logo of that radio into their car. It'll just say Ford or it'll just say Kia. But the Vuroid would supply the cameras, the dash cam cameras for Hyundai, and it would probably say Hyundai on it, or it would be integrated into the AV system. You wouldn't know that it wasn't Hyundai, but it's actually made by Vuroid. Would that be a good way to characterize that?
Yeah, it can be like we started from the ODM company in Korea as well, and then I think that is kind of ODM that an OEM wants to make some kind of equipment to be equipped into their car, and then they just want other companies supply those kind of equipment to them, and then we the companies like us, the manufacturer, could be the one who can supply those kind of equipment to them. Yeah.
Great. Here's a good example. AC Delco, that Portia speaks here, and that for a lot of Americans, they're aware of that GM. Though I could be wrong here. Portia Speaker, was AC Delco actually originally part of GM and they spun it off, or is it a totally separate thing? I actually don't remember the whole history of that. He also mentioned that Tesla seems to have nailed it on Sentry and crash footage. And I think I mentioned this in our earlier call that I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing more, as you had mentioned, more integrated dash cam, or at least camera systems in cars.
Yeah, definitely. And then we see the Tesla started the first dash cam is installed in equipment in the dash and vehicle in the US, I think. And but in terms of the Tesla, is it difficult to manage the battery with the Sentry mode, and then the image quality is not that good because their image quality is tuned to sensing the environment
Yeah,
and then it
yeah.
detect the pedestrians or vehicle, but it is not tuned to for see the watch the videos clearly. So that's the difference with the Tesla's Sentry mode and then the aftermarket dashcam.
Let me add a few words regarding these questions,
Hmm.
and it's really good question as aspect for the dash cam, because this the HKMC, the Hyundai Kia
Hmm.
actually adapted this dash cam in the before market. I think that they are the first OEM who took this application in their car. Because we have to understand that the dash cam's characteristic. It's just a simple camera. It just looks like it's similar to the action camera, but its computing power that it consumes is quite big because it
Oh,
should
yeah.
encode and record, and resolution is relatively very high. We use 4K for front and QHD for rear, and in-cabin QHD or Full HD. When we encode all these the images in real time, it's really really high the computing power we actually need. So in the the OEM point of view, already they have the very optimized system as we consider their electrical device architecture. So if they want to add this application in their platform, they should consider the more resource of their platform. Suppose the higher computing power SoCs, which is more expensive.
Oh,
So
that's the.
or yeah, or they have to add another domain that can handle this kind of application. So it's not really simple work. So when they calculate all the revenue and everything and options, they should wait till this market is getting bigger enough. So that is one thing that we have a little more time for that, and of course, we are pursuing the before market too. But this is one story. And regarding this Tesla story, they have a lot of cameras in their car, and I know they have recording application, recording capability, but they are actually running the car with battery. And those camera, suppose when we consider the situation when the user parked the
Yeah.
car and they use the camera for the recording, then I don't think that their battery can, stand for much
Really?
time. That's
Really?
really, yeah, I believe so. And they should keep charging, right? So in that case, of course, I don't say about the camera quality and all, but as we just consider this application, their camera is more like to the ADAS and the auto driving
Yeah, yeah.
concept, but not the recording. That is the additional feature they give. But what we are manufacturing and developing is just a pure dash cam proposed product. So that is main difference, I can say.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of struggle, and from what I know, having worked on Volkswagen, and sort of a little bit
Mhm.
on the inside, is that across the board, most car companies aren't there to push electronic technology. They're there to try to put the cheapest technology in their car so that they can mark things up. And I can experience that with with some of the anybody who has gone through that period in their life when they're younger and they're willing to spend lots of money on their car and upgrading things. You're going to get a better sound system. You're going to get better lights and everything if you buy aftermarket than if you go with the manufacturers. Almost always the case. I mean, there's some rare cases, maybe with some exotic European sports car brands, but it's almost always the case that you're better off buying your Pioneer sound system or AC system, and then buying somebody else's um, air filter system aftermarket. And so it makes sense that a company like yours that specializes in dash cams would be more concerned with things like reducing battery draw, current draw, and maximizing image rather than let's just see what's the cheapest cable that we can buy in bulk to put into our cars. Now, I'm curious, how much of a draw from like you're talking about parking, and when you're using your dash cam in a parking mode, you're getting a little bit of your constant draw from your battery. So how and I'm not a real electronics person, but how much of a wattage or amperage draw, and could you compare that to like another device that we're familiar with in terms of how much of a battery it's using?
Yeah, in general, when we consider the situation of parking, we have different type of necessity. Like they just want to keep recording. I mean, no matter what happens, they just want to keep record the situation around the car. In that case, the camera is always on and capturing the image. So in that case, around it keep changes, but the 600 to 700 milliampere.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, but there is another option that camera is just the in optimized status, like it doesn't capture the image, but it is on. And when there is event like the happening, suppose there is an impact or something happen, then it just wake up within a second and start recording. In such a case, the ideal power consumption is less than 1 milliampere.
Oh, that's very low.
Doesn't even consume much. So yeah, it just to keep waiting for if anything happen. Yeah.
And power draw as well as temperature, and we can get to all the different aspects of cars. So one of the when I first looked into getting a dash cam for my car, I was this was like 6-7 years ago. I was really disappointed with the video quality that I was getting from a dash cam, and I didn't delve into the higher end ones were like in $300-400, which your devices are getting into that, but just sort of the standard Amazon consumer stuff that was right around $100 or less. But the image quality I was getting was just so poor. And I was thinking, well, can't I just get my GoPro and hang it up? But then it doesn't have the capabilities of, when I turn on the car, I have to manually turn on the camera. And whereas dash cams, it turns on when your car turns on. And like you said, parking mode. And anybody who's used any of the modern GoPros nowadays or equivalent action cams, I'm sure everybody who has used it knows the overheating problem, whereas I've never had an overheating problem with any dash cams that I've tested. So there's a lot of aspects for sure that are important. We've touched a couple of them. Let me just bring up onto screen a couple of them just to make sure that I don't forget some of them. But let me bring this up here. So let's talk a little bit about the clarity of the footage, and to your point, your company specializes in image processing, and a lot of people do. They'll see the specs on the camera it'll say it's 4K, or some are even claiming 8K, which I don't believe. But just because it's 4K in terms of pixel size, I've looked at footage of some cameras that claim to be 4K, and then I'll look at it and compare it to other cameras that are in 1080, and the image quality is the same. You're just upscaling your camera, your image processor, just increasing the size, and it just looks equally as crappy. So the processing of the image is really critical.
Yeah, we think so as well. And there's a few the component that determine the image quality in the dash cams. There's a lens and sensors, and there's a SoC. But we care about the ISP design very much because there's a lack of selection for lens and sensor for SoC for to the dashcam perspective because the sensor we only have few options like Sony or like some kind of crappy sensors from
Now, Sony is pretty
country.
much the industry standard.
Yeah. We think the Sony and their brand name is the Starvis and Starvis 2, and then that kind of become the brand name that can tell that this dashcam is the high image quality. And then we think the Sony is the kind of industry standard right now. But in terms of the ISP, and there's a like 18 or 20 like categories that we can adjust the levels in there. Like there is a auto exposure or auto white balance, and also the noise reduction. Those kind of things has like hundreds of thousands of levels that we can adjust, and then how to combine those kind of levels determine the image quality. So to that, the how many experience our engineer has is very important to decide the image quality because that the ISP side, that how to determine the levels of each parameter is usually decided by the engineer's experience. So we think we have strengths in those kind of perspective, and then from that we develop the high image quality in the S1 4K Infinite this time. Yeah.
Now, I forgot what ISP is. It image system processing, or what's the
Image signal processor.
okay, processor? And for the folks out there who may not be as into the weeds and geeky as me, the way I would describe it is if you've used Instagram and you choose a different filter to make your pictures look better, that's what would be the equivalent, is that these engineers are hard coding those sort of filters onto the footage that it's recording to enhance things like the color of the cars that are going by you, the readability of the letters on the license plates. How they tweak it really makes a big difference on the footage that it records.
Yeah, that is an easy way to express it. Yeah.
Now, one of the other aspects of oh, sorry, go ahead, James. Were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm fine.
One of the other things that could obviously affect the clarity of the footage that you're seeing, especially when you're trying to like capture people's faces in the other vehicle, whether or not they're like looking down on their in their lap, which obviously means that they were like looking at their phone when they should be driving, things like that you want to capture. But also license plates. Sometimes people, when you get a cheaper dash cam, the footage, especially the cars driving in opposite direction, they're blurry, and part of that is frame rates. And so higher frame rates means there's more frames per second, but of course it also means more information, and that translates to larger file sizes. And one of the things there's your default setting on your camera that I tested. Defaults to 60 frames per second, which is great in terms of just raw clarity. But I found that the better image in terms of being able to capture license plates was you have a special image enhance feature for license plates, but and there's a trade-off. So the trade-off is you have to drop down to 30 frames per second to get that HDR, high dynamic range setting. I'm curious, why did you choose the 60 frames per second over the HDR setting as your default?
There is always cons and pros in different setting of this camera, and the environment of this surround vehicle is always change. So there is no ultimate option to make the optimized the image quality. So we just trying to give the as many as options that we can provide to the customers. So 16 frame per second is the one of option that can be very useful. That actually you mentioned that in such a case, yes, in specific situation, it can capture the license plate more clearly. That's for sure. But in the same time, if we just to make the frame faster, then the sensitivity will go down.
Mm.
That is for sure because this is all the camera is same. Because in certain time we have to cut the more shutter.
Yeah.
So yeah, so definitely the sensitivity and the sensors that accept the light getting reduced. So there is constant pros. So the users should decide what to use. So yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
is
something
one.
I hadn't even considered. You brought up, and I know enough about cameras from my day job, but I didn't even consider that. Like if you want better low light performance, you actually should go with a lower frame rate. Oh, that's good to know.
No, the 30 is the minimized one because
Mm.
30 frame per second is the one of de facto standard in automotive that we can say real time.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it goes below than that, then yeah, we will miss some specific image. So yeah.
Yeah, for folks out there who are just looking for specs on cameras and things, 30 frames per second is or 60 frames per second isn't necessarily the best necessarily, and you shouldn't look at say a setting like 30 frames per second has got to be twice as half as good as a 60 frame per second. 30
Yeah.
frames per second is pretty much the standard frame rate of videos that we watch. Like a lot of movies or videos we watch is at 30 frames per second. So that's kind of normal. So anything faster than that is has its advantages, but don't think that 30 frames per second is bad. And I'm very cognizant of the time that I have with you, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. And I just realized we've got a lot of other topics, key points on there, but I'll leave it up to my audience and also to my guests here if they want to. Is there any other key features about your dash cam that you think that people should be aware of, or if you, for my audience, if there's any specific questions about dash cams and their features that you'd like to learn more about, please type it in the side chat. But to Jesse and James, what do you think are other key things about Viewroid that stand out?
We want to mention that you mentioned about the high temperature and then the
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of electronics has suffered from the high temperature and then it got slowed. But in perspective, dashcam should not, because dashcam should record in any event and when the accident happens, right? So
Yeah.
even if it is high temperature, the dashcam should work. So we in the park, because in parking mode, there's a lot of possibility for the dashcam for dashcam's temperature can be go higher. So we consider those kind of thing, and we developed the draw shift parking mode that if the dashcam turns into the parking mode and then it detects temperature constantly, and if the temperatures go too high, then the dashcam will go into the extreme low power mode that the James mentioned. It only consumes the 1 milliampere, and then it wakes up like regularly, like about 1 minute or 5 minutes, and then it detects the temperature, and then if it goes low, then the dashcam will back to the normal parking mode, the driver set. But if it is parking mode, it's too, and if the temperature is too high, then it keeps the extreme low power mode. But even in the extreme low power mode, and the impact happen, and the dashcam will wake up within the 1 second, and then it starts to record, so it doesn't miss any accident. So that's kind of feature that we want to explain our consumers. And also we have the AI feature, but we think AI features can be fancy one, but we want to develop the AI more focused on what dashcam should do. So we developed the dashcam with the high image quality, which can detect the license plate well. But in some time there, if it's too dark and if the car speed is too fast, and there's some situation we miss the license plate, then there's an AI that we provide. It called AI license plate restoration. And from our app or PC viewer, they just upload those footage that they want to reveal the license plate. And our AI system on the cloud will make a restoration on that license plate. It
That's cool.
cannot be always right, but if just the algorithm can detect just one number, it can start point to them, like there's a relief. So we developed the AI function, this kind of thing. And also we have the AI privacy protection feature, and it detects automatically the faces or the pedestrians' faces or other cars' license plate, and it blurs to easy to share the footage easily while protecting others' privacy.
Oh, that's
Privacy.
interesting. Okay. Is that, that actually, I appreciate that because
Oh yeah, oh
I,
yeah.
I kind of felt bad about some of the footage that I uploaded for, as an example, in the video, because in one case I was just trying to get footage of a car that I was driving by. I wanted to get footage of a Waymo, which is the driverless cars that are now all over San Francisco. But at the time when I was trying to get the Waymo, a pedestrian was walking by. And I'm like, oh gosh, I hope he doesn't see this, because I don't, I didn't get a release form for. And your camera is so clear that you could clearly see his face. But okay, and hopefully I don't get a cease and desist from his lawyer in the future. But so operating temperature is key, because anybody who's walked into their car after it's parked in the summer certainly knows how hot your car can get. I grew up in Southern California, and out in the hills near the desert, so it gets really hot there. And if there's different places in Texas and in Arizona and Utah that get even hotter. How's the hot? What's the highest operating temperature that you guys design your dash cams for?
In Fahrenheit, I should calculate, but in Celsius, our target is the 70 Celsius degree.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty high. Let me just do the calculation here. That's 158 in freedom units, folks.
Yeah, similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is our target. So yeah, we can guarantee that the room temperature is that degree.
Yeah, so hopefully your car isn't 158 degrees, but yeah, I've probably been in cars in the middle of summer that felt like that for sure. So that's one of the reasons why you want to get a good quality dash cam, just especially if you're parking. You don't know how hot your car gets. I mean, you kind of feel it, but could you imagine that electronics trying to run in that temperature for, tens of minutes to hours while you're working, and then you come back to your car and you're expecting your dash cam to work constantly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you have to build that level of durability, and that's it's great that your cameras can do all that. Tim asks, do cameras have built-in Yes, they do. Your model has the GPS built into the base. Is that correct? The antenna?
Yeah, it is in the mount. Yeah.
Yeah, the mount, and the mount attaches to the windscreen, and
yes.
You can choose to turn on the GPS logging or turn it off in the settings. The advantage is that not only does it show where you are at a given time of the footage, and it's an advantage or a disadvantage, but it also logs in how fast you were going, or at least approximately based on the GPS, which can be a good thing or a bad thing to prove that you weren't exceeding. I mean, that's the bad thing, is like all of us I'm not going to admit to anything, but I think the majority of people usually slightly exceed the posted speed limit. So maybe you don't want to divulge that, or maybe you do, and just say that no, I wasn't going 50 in a 20-mile-per-hour zone. I was going 30, but I was not going 50 like the police officer claims I was. Or as a parent, if you put your dash cam on your kid's car, you can see how fast they were going. So that is a plus side. So as a parent, I would definitely go for a dash cam with GPS as a feature and make sure that that is on constantly. All right. Well, I want to wrap things up because I don't want to take up too much of your time, and you were so gracious to allow me a half an hour of your busy time. I would love to have you guys back on to talk more about things when things come up. But if you don't mind, would you want to stay on while we wrap things up as far as the show?
Yeah, we'll be there.
All right.
No problem.
So let me just shoot through these slides, and I wanted to show everybody just an example side by side. And I usually don't do a side by side on my videos because oftentimes that comes back to bite me in terms of whoever is the brand that doesn't come up on top usually never returns my calls to test their products later. But here is a side by side. The Vuroid is on the right. This other cheaper dash cam that I was using is on the left. And granted, cars, they're different cars even at different times, but they're both in an evening. And you can see, and I took a still frame here from my footage of both of them, and I stopped it at approximately where I could start reading the license plate. And you can really immediately see the Vuroid, which is on the right. The car is further away, and the license plate is much clearer than on the cheaper dash cam, which is on the left. And to be perfectly, absolutely honest with everybody out there, this is what I've come. On the left is what I've come to expect for most dash cams at night. Is like, good luck reading any license plates. You may be able to read a license plate when you're stopped, when the car is in front of you, stopped, and if you're lucky, you can read it. But as soon as cars start moving, good luck. But the Vuroid actually does a pretty good job, even with the cars slightly moving.
Oh, I think the image that I see, the right one is Vuroid captured, you said.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think that this mode is the normal mode, if I'm not wrong.
You are correct. You
Because,
are correct.
if it is HDR mode, then this license plate should be captured much better.
Yeah, and let me see if I can bring that up in a still frame from the footage, because it does this interesting thing where you see almost like multiple. Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can bring this up, and I'll try to keep the sound down so it's not. Let me bring this camera dash cam. All right, so. Let me see if I can bring up. The smears you're seeing are in the glass of my windscreen because this is San Francisco, and we're actually. Oh, I don't have. There we go. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is HDR mode, right? You captured right.
So I can't zoom in for unfortunately here, but if you're watching this, you can see that the license plate almost looks like there's a lot of multiple license plates in echo, and that's when you have the HDR mode on the Vuroid, which is the only dash cam that I know has this, where it enhances license plates so that it increases the readability of the digits of the characters on there. Yeah, so that's another reason why I definitely in my video I said it's not a cheap dash cam. I'll be straight up with that. It's one of the more expensive dash cams I've ever reviewed, but just to be able to read license plates as you're driving past at night, that is a game changer. So there you go. To the footage anyway. Let me bring up the contest. I want to wrap things up with a contest, and thank you. You're going to give away 3 prizes today. Am I correct?
Yeah, we can provide the SD card that which is to 256
Oh,
gigabyte SD
wow.
card.
I thought you were going to give away like 16 gig cards. You're giving a 256?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So for the folks, if you are participating in the contest, email me your answers, and the first three correct answers, I will forward it on to Viewroid, and then we'll send you a 256 gigabyte SD card. That is so awesome. So I will let me give you your final clue, folks. And before we get into the final clue, I just also wanted to plug on my website. I'm currently having a contest separate from this, but you can enter to win these Pro here. These are electronic earmuffs, but not the earmuffs. You're going to get the clip-on FRS GMRS adapter for your earmuffs if you have Howard Light, Impact Sports, or Pro Hear headsets. And I've had Howard Lights for my go-to for many years, but actually I like the Pro Hears now more. Not just because letting me give away this stuff, but actually the sound quality of the Pro Hears is better than the Howard Lights. But you can convert your Howard Lights into a two-way radio. Let me giving this away. Just if you want to enter the contest for that, we're going to be drawing that at the beginning of next month. And let me just post up a link for you guys, or just go to moondogindustries.com/contest, and you can enter that contest. And let me just type it into the side chat here for everybody. HTTPS moondogindustries.com/contest. There you go. So, or those listening, just go to Moondog Industries, Moondog, my name, industries.com/contest, and you can enter this contest. And the deadline is the end of this month. So Halloween is the deadline. And of course, there's a fundraiser that I'm also hosting for the St. Anne Middle School, and you can take part in donating for the fundraiser. But I'm also throwing in a few of the review items. So if you donate a specific amount that I'll list on this page here, so go to moondogindustries.com/yard sale. You can claim one of these items, and one of them is a 2,000 lumen weapon light, the Raider X1 from Monstrum. All right, so without further ado, here's the final clue. In 1991, this Japanese electronics brand launched the PlayStation, which dominated and expanded the video game console market, taking the crown from Nintendo and Sega. So I don't know anybody who doesn't know this brand by this clue, so hopefully you know who this is. Send me an email at contest@moondogindustries.com with your mailing address in the subject, and on the subject line, put in hashtag and the name of this brand, just so I can easily find it in my email mailbox. But put in the body of it, put in your mailing address, and the first three correct answers will win the SD card from Viewroid. All right, thank you, Jesse and James, for joining me today. I really appreciate your time and your insights to Dashcams. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we end the show?
Thanks for having us and sharing your time. And then if you are interested in our Dashcam, there will be this seasonal discount on the end of year. So please tune into our Amazon site. So it will be good.
Oh, very good.
And also, I can see a lot of questions from here in comments section, and Team Mooney, and regarding the product question. So I'm willing to answer him after this recording, after this interview. So could you just guide them our email address or something? So
So folks, even if you don't win any of the contests, if you have any other questions, specifically technical questions you want answered about Viewroid's S1 or any of their products for that matter, send it to contest@moondogindustries.com, and I'll be happy to forward it on to Jesse and James, and they'll get your questions answered. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to tune in next week for our live stream. And thank you again to Jesse and James for joining me today. All right, everybody.
Okay.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.